Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dialogues from the President's Corner, featuring Dr. Zarda, president of Greensboro College, as well as our special guest today, Josh Wilson, student athlete of the wrestling program and head coach of the wrestling team, Justin Hartley. So, how you all doing today?
I'm doing good. Started the morning early. Had a class with AJ Schrader, screenwriting. We went over some plays. So, yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
That's fun.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Doing fine, Matthew. Time of year where the college is accelerating every day. There's so much to do before the end of the semester.
I mean, March just flew by and February just flew by. So now last full month of the year. So with the end of the semester, we're approaching the end of the semester. It's also the end of the wrestling season, which was a very successful season. So Josh and Justin were helping Greensboro College earn the first men's wrestling NCAA national championship. So we just wanted to talk with them and talk about the seasons and just the history of wrestling at Greensboro College. So Dr. Zarda, just for some context, do you want to talk about like that history? It's a short history, but it's been a very successful one so far.
Yeah, happy to, Matthew. And I'll try to keep it brief. Obviously, there was a lot that went into the decision to start wrestling. But, Greensboro College is 185 years old. But we're always looking at upgrading and being, making sure taking care of current needs, whether it's academic or student development or community service and athletics. About 10, 12 years ago, the then athletic director and I started looking at what sports are we not offering that maybe we should be considering. And there's a number of factors that go into that. Number one, are there enough student athletes to, reasonably populate a team? Number two, what's the high school feeder pipeline look like? Our facilities and our conference, what does that all look like? And so wrestling was starting to look better and better to us. And I have the fortunate circumstance of being a 40-year colleague with Mike Moyer, who is the executive director of the National Wrestling Coaches Association. And he came down and we did a thorough analysis of our facilities and high schools, and it looked perfect to start a men's wrestling program. And we did. We always want to make improvements, but we do have the student athlete pipeline. We have the facilities. We do wrestle in the old Dominion Athletic Conference, not the USA South. But again, the program is relatively new. And again, it's gone very, very well, but really, especially since Coach Harty has come, the future is bright for wrestling.
That's interesting because I feel like from an outside perspective, if you want a sport for a college, usually it's let's get that sport, but you don't think about all those other factors involved.
And Matthew, I should have said, we were the first college university in North Carolina to start a collegiate women's wrestling program 2 years ago.
2021.
2 years ago. And again, we have high hopes for that moving forward.
So Justin, you're the head of the wrestling program here at GC. So do you want to talk about like your background both as an athlete and a coach?
Sure. Grew up in South Dakota. Lee Deadwood, South Dakota. Was a 3-time state champion there, heavyweight. Was recruited to wrestle to University of North Carolina. That's how I got down to there. Wrestled for Coach Bill Lamb, who is a legendary coach, phenomenal individual. People are like, how did you get from South Dakota to North Carolina? The connection there is Mark Manning, who's now the coach at Nebraska, head coach of Nebraska. His brother was my high school coach, Mark Manning. So kind of a connection there, but had a phenomenal career at UNC Chapel Hill with Rob Cole taking over the program. There's great history. I was just back there a couple weeks ago and handed out the awards for the ACC heavyweight division championship there. But, I had a great career, learned a lot from him. I was a 4-time All-American, a wrestler, made the finals in 96. 4-time academic All-American, 4-time undefeated ACC champion at the school, and was part of 4 championship teams there. So had a phenomenal career there. But I learned so much more than just the wrestling accomplishments, but graduated with a degree in psychology and business communications and learned a lot about coaching and from Bill Lamb and all the great people he had. And it's helped with this program because I brought Bill Lamb back here to speak to my team, and I bring people that I think can help our young people, and that's what he used to do as well. Kendall Cross was an assistant at Chapel Hill while I was there in '96. He won the Olympics. TJ Jaworski, Mark Manning, lots of really good people have gone through that program, and now they're kind of out in the wrestling world doing great things. So it's exciting to have that experience, and then started working with DeWalt Power Tools and moved around a little bit, but I've been here in Greensboro for quite a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So from one award-winning student athlete to another award-winning
Absolutely.
student athlete. So,
Absolutely.
Josh, do you want to take us like to the championships in the NCAA tournament? Just like how you were feeling before going into it, and then like just the initial feeling you had afterwards?
My initial feeling going into the NCAA finals, I was more calm than I was going into the semifinals. Because in the semifinals, I had my rival from Roanoke College. I had faced him after that 4 times, and he's the one who was placed third in the country really good wrestler. And, when you beat people, they end up coming back even stronger, especially good wrestlers. They learn from their mistakes and they come back. And I knew he was a smart guy. He was going to come back his strongest in our last dance. So once I got past him, I felt like the finals was mine for the taking. I felt really confident with all the things that Coach Harty instilled in me mentally, the winning mindset. So I felt very confident in my abilities. It was just going out there, performing to the best of my ability at that point.
So, like, throughout the season and just going into the tournament, both Coach and Josh, can you guys both talk about, like, the preparation, like, the process? What does that look like getting to that point?
Um, so physically, 2 weeks before that first week when we come back off of regionals, we went over some things that I didn't do right. We correct those, and then we up our intensity. So really intense practices as far as like I'll be like in the middle, and then I'll wrestle this guy, and then another fresh guy comes and wrestles me, and just wrestling to the point where all my moves are committed to muscle memory. Even when I'm exhausted, I can still hit my signature moves very crisply, and mentally just believing in myself. Also, being really strong in my faith, praying a lot, but also just we have a thing we say after every practice. And Coach Hardy, could you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually every practice we have some principles that we say, and these principles are pretty powerful if you read into them. But I'm thankful for the opportunity to wrestle. So it's rooted in having blessing to be able to be healthy enough to do it. I'm aggressive and relentless at all times, so I'm going to keep the pressure on. This next one's big. I have no fear of losing or making mistakes. So we wrestle free. The last thing is I don't quit. One of those things. And then we add a fifth one in there that I do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. Right. That's integrity. So if you commit to a goal, we commit to a goal. And I would tell you that I'm so proud of Josh because he's been a national champion for years here, but we realized it and we executed this year. And I would tell you that physically and I think we were prepared last year, but mentally, I don't think we were where we needed to be. And that came down to belief. And I think one of the biggest things that Josh really changed from last year to this year was actually believing that he could be a national champion, right? And when you believe you can do something, that changes a whole lot of things. And 30-0, you did not lose to a D3 opponent this year. That's hard to do. To beat the number 3 guy in the country 4 times is it's an incredible accomplishment. That's very hard to do, to beat somebody twice, let alone the number 3 guy in the country. So his preparation was great. He's got a great attitude. He comes to practice and works tremendously hard. I don't think there's a harder worker than Josh Wilson out there. And our practices were very tough in preparation. So he didn't have to even worry about his shape. He could go through any match and not even worry about it, which is a great thing. And then when we got there, it was really interesting because Josh will tell you, I'm going to let him speak to it, but the whole practice week, things went perfect, actually. And we had a fantastic prep camp. When we were going out there, the whole thing was like, hey, Josh, we're going out there to win a national championship. We're going to claim it. All right, we're not leaving there without one. But everything that was happening along the way, the seeding sheets came out. We're like, man, we got the best seed in this tournament, right? Didn't actually turn out to be the best seed because we beat all Americans in every round, but had the toughest road. But we were like, man, we got the best seed. And then when Mark Samuels beat the returning national champion in a pigtail to get into the tournament, I turned to Josh and I said, Josh, this is it, man. Yeah. All these signs and everything's happening. We may have to face him, but we beat him. We can beat him. And so I turned to him before the semifinal match. I said, "You have Mark Samuels between you and the finals, man. Let's go do this." So Josh, about your preparation, man. From the mindset piece
Oh
of it?
man, reminiscing on that kind of gives me chills.
I'm getting chills.
Oh man,
Yeah.
just kind of the thought about it. Last year, not having the same mental endurance that I did this year. It really taught me a lesson, though. It taught me, everybody on that level is deserving of it. Everybody deserves to be a national champion. Everybody works hard. Everybody there has good grades. You're amongst the best, the cream of the crop of the country at that point. So it's not about that. It's about who's willing to take it, who's willing to take that championship, who's willing to go. And when Coach told me the only thing between me and a national championship is Mark Samuels, I was like, oh, that's mine. It's a little bit of grit, the trial and error and the things that Coach Harty put me through to prepare. Like, we faced a ton of Division I schools over the past 2 years, top competition, to prepare us for this moment. So we know when we get to this stage that we're ready. Just everything in combination, like physically and mentally, just really helped with just the mental and physical endurance for this tournament.
So I know Dr. Zada, you talked about it earlier, and Justin, can you, since like the season's just over, now you guys can kind of take a step back and reflect a little bit. Do you want to talk about like where the program is like right
Sure.
now?
I think we're a program on the rise, both on the men's and women's programs. I mean, when you win a national championship, when every one of these kids comes on a recruiting trip here to Greensboro College, in the back of their minds is, can I win a national championship here? I mean, that's what, All-American, be an All-American, can be a national champion. And Josh has proven that can be done here. All right. So anyone that wants to be a national champion, Greensboro College is a possibility. And that's great. Not only are we a great academic school, but we're building to be a powerhouse. We're not there yet, but that's our goal though. I mean, our goal is, just like Josh has a goal to be a national champion and he approved that. I mean, our goal is to be a top 10, team, top 5, right? Team. We were 16th in the country this year out of 130 D3 teams, right? That's a top 20 finish. That's an amazing accomplishment, which is great. So on the men's team, when we recruit, obviously this is a powerful, powerful statement, right? So from and proven. And, I just want to mention here too, that it's not all about wrestling. I mean, Josh is an academic scholar All-American as well. That double is pretty amazing. When you can do that, that is on par. Very few student athletes get that double. So when you're committed in the classroom like Josh is, and we had 3 academic All-Americans last year, Josh, Brandon Williams, our heavyweight, and then also Isabella Ruiz, on our female side. And just this, we found out yesterday actually that Haley Misplay, one of our freshman women athletes, campus wrestling, she just became a Scholar Academic All-American as a 3.64 in criminal justice. So I mean, so one of the things that's exciting is that, the parents that are listening to this podcast, student athletes that are listening to this podcast, that Greensboro College is a phenomenal school. It's a great academic school, and our athletes are excelling in the classroom, but we're also excelling off the mat. So I definitely think that this accomplishment is not only great for Josh, it's great for the city of Greensboro, man. I mean, Josh is a hometown kid from Southeast High School, Jed Cox High School coach down there. And Josh, when I first met him, I said, what do you want to do? He told me, Coach, I want to be a national champion. That's what I want to do. And from that moment to when I lifted him up after he won on top of that stage, it's a frameable picture. He sent me that. I'm going to get that frame to put in my office. And I told him, I whispered in his ear, I was like, Josh, we did it, man. You did it. That's it. I mean, that's the pinnacle. That's the top of our sport. In college level, there's senior levels and stuff like that. But for what we're doing at the NCAA division level, being an All-American national champion is the goal of every wrestler. I mean, that's what they're out there to do and trying to achieve. And it's so hard to do. It takes an incredible, incredible spirit, hard work ethic, and in being able to go through our sport, not an easy one. What we have to do to go prepare and be where we need to be, you need a great team. You need Mitch Johnson, our assistant coach, who comes and trains. You need Coach Woodburn. You need a great athletic training group. Shamika Sharp was phenomenal. So our team that went out there, it was surreal because we walked around knowing we were going to win national champion. I can't tell you how we do, but we do. We all knew it, and it was gave him all the support and he needed. And at the end of the day, Josh went and did the work.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of great things here, and this is a great home for people to come get an education and learn.
And Matthew, I would say, since you asked my opinion of the state of the program, I think back to when we launched everything a decade ago. And we were over in Reynolds Center main stage. It was full, and we had who's who in wrestling in North Carolina. And our keynote speaker was a name that most people recognize, was Dan Gable. We have that somewhere, his picture in that gym. But what I would say, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know when you start something new. And now that we are where we are, I think we should consciously amend how we talk about Josh. We need to say that Josh Wilson is the first national champion at Greensboro College, because there will be more.
So Josh, being like the first national champion of Greensboro College, and Justin, so the season's just ended. So wait, what's up now for like the rest of the semester?
So for the rest of this semester, we're just working and preparing. There's another style called freestyle, and it's slightly different to what we do during the season, but it's just another style, to train, to keep training fresh. And at this point, I was thinking about my next goal, and my next goal is to become the best wrestler I could possibly be. And I feel like if I do that, if I put in the mental and physical training and bring it to that next level, everything like as far as the national championship will all fall in place. Also, when I was at the NCAA tournament this year, I did not know there was an award called the Most Dominant Award. That is my ultimate goal. In order to win that award, you have to have bonus points, meaning you have to basically dominate every opponent you wrestle and win a national championship.
Mm.
And to me, that award is I really want that.
Yeah.
So that's my goal is this season just push to that next level and be the absolute best wrestler I could possibly be.
I can see you doing that. The Kobe drop the mic moment.
That's right. Yeah, I would tell you, I'll follow up on that. I mean, Josh is dominant, but that award was won by a 197-pounder who was a fierce competitor, and it was awesome to see him compete. And for Josh to want that, I mean, it's been great. If he decides he wants that and we're going to go after it, it's going to be a fun season. Josh is speaking to the Olympic styles. Obviously, we're in Olympic year in Paris, and we've got what's called freestyle and Greco-Roman, and those styles are really focused on during the summer. There's a lot of those summers. So there's last chance qualifier up in Fredericksburg, Virginia in a couple weeks. So that's something that we're going to take some of our group to. There's the under 23 nationals, USA Wrestling Nationals, Freestyle and Greco-Roman. That's up in Ohio in June. So those are some of the events that we'll go to and continue having some goals to train for. But really right now, our focus is on recruiting, trying to get more student athletes here. We've had a lot of recruiting trips, and so I think it's great. And I'll have to also say at this point that having President Zarda as the support of a president, and Kim Strabel, our athletic director, and Jenna Miller, our compliance lady, all that kind of administrative support allows us to have a great program here. And being able to host different things. We've hosted the Junior National Training Camp, which is a high school function, the best students here. We've hosted that in Greensboro College. We want to continue hosting those types of things because that actually gets folks on our campus. They can see it. They can see what we're doing. And then they're starting to hear what we're doing. I mean, Josh just won a national championship. Haley, our freshman, was ranked 10th in the country this year, academic All-American. I just got off a call. There's lots of really great things coming down for this guy, which is some accolades. But at the end of the day, having that support is actually crucial in having a successful program. And I can't thank you enough, President Zarda, for your support on every initiative that we try here.
Well, Coach, you've earned it. And I'd also say it was a unique event, but we got a lot of attention, even nationally, when we hosted the world champion Ukrainian women's
That's
wrestling
right.
team
Yeah.
back in the fall. And I'm looking forward to see how many of them end up at the Olympics. I don't know how that's going right now.
I wish we could do that again.
I'm actually in talks with them. They come back to the States. We'd love to host them. But, President Zarda brings up a great point. I mean, we hosted the senior national Ukrainian team here, women's team here. And it was so funny because when I was talking to the coach, in preparation, and we had lots of calls to make that happen.
Mhm.
And President's Arts Group is great. But I was like, hey, we're a growing women's program, but we got some other, if you want training programs and training, we've got guy wrestlers. And the coach is like, no problem. He's like, our women are world champions.
Yeah, they'll be
and
okay.
Olympian.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're like, we'll be okay. And they were. I mean, they were incredible. And we wrestled. We actually wrestled matches with them and trained with them. And I'll tell you one of the most powerful things about them coming here. Number one, we had local news come and actually do some news articles on that. But the other great thing was for our entire team, men's and women's program, seeing that what they were teaching is what we were teaching. A lot of those things were very similar. And we learned some things and some drills and stuff, but the fundamentals of the sport are clear and concise. I mean, when you are fundamentally sound, good things happen. When you're out of position and not fundamentally sound, bad things happen. And what's amazing about those coaches and those athletes were They are the best of the best. They were the reigning senior women champions. All right. So to have them on our campus was awesome. President Zarda and team raised some funds for them to be here. But also, Josh, I'll ask you, what did that mean to you?
I thought it was a huge eye opener for me because it was that reassurance that what we were already doing is going to work and it's working. Because when they came in, a lot of the things they did was super similar to what we do, you know, and some slight differences here and there, but altogether it really we were a lot alike than we thought. So when I put that together and just being around champions, and this is the best way to get better, when you're around other people that have the same goals as you, that want to become the best of the best, it just pushes you that much farther. I got the opportunity to wrestle with a world champion, Oksana, and I had the chance to wrestle with her, and it was probably one of the best eye opener situations I ever had in the training. It was great. I knew when I was wrestling her, I just wrestled with the best women's wrestler probably of all time, So I can definitely do what I need to do on the mat when I'm facing other people in my division, you know. So it was confidence. It was fun. Definitely learned some new things. And at the same time, I had that reassurance that what we're doing is going to work.
I'll have to also add that we also were all struck by something well beyond wrestling.
Yeah.
They left us and went home to the Ukraine, and we all know what that must be like.
I mean, that sounds like it was an amazing experience. I know I was there for a little bit taking photos, but I didn't say the entire time. But just from what I saw, it was very powerful. So thank you, Josh and Justin, again for joining us today, and congratulations on the historic season. Thank you, Dr. Zarda, and thank you all for watching this episode. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube. Thank you.